Hello, everyone, and welcome to the I Am Love Builder Show. We are your hosts, Casper and Cheryl Stockham, and we are so glad and excited that you tuned in with us today.
Yes.
We would like to give a great big shout out to all of our broadcast partners. Thank you. I Am Love Builders is a show that's dedicated to all things dealing with relationships and communication. It doesn't matter whether you're married or single. We believe that we have something here to share with you that will help you become an MVP. That's the most valuable partner in your marriage or relationship. Our heart's desire is that your marriage or relationship will be strong and thriving and prospering. Because we believe here at I Am Love Builders that if you're not having fun,
You
you're
are
not doing it right.
No doubt about it. Now I'm having problems talking today, so
Okay.
my wife's going to do most of the talking because my voice is going.
All right. So we are so excited. We want to tell you about all of our broadcast partners, which is I Am Love Builders,
show.
and our TV show, Winning with Love. We're actually doing a casting call. We are a casting call for married couples for season 2 and for singles for season 1. So if you feel you are a dynamic married couple or single, with a product, business, service, ministry, something to share, we would love to have you on the TV show Winning with Love. All right. The show host is.
Oh, you know what? I pulled up the wrong slide.
You put up the wrong slide. Okay. I never really do the beginning of the show. He always does. So I'm winging it.
Yes. Well, hold on. You got to wing it some more.
All right.
Let's see.
Well, I'm good at winging it.
Yeah, you can wing it. Let's see. Q1. Yeah. That was a better slide. Okay.
All right. That's our Winning with Love casting call.
Yeah.
And I Am Love Builders. We have a series of services that we provide. I Am Love Builders Media Services. We provide a TV and movie production, podcast promotions, and micro network platform, a pay-per-view platform, a video business directory, and TV advertising. If any of those interest you, contact us.
All right.
Also, we have a group, Facebook group called the Most Valuable Partner Network on Facebook. Please join us and get all kinds of tips and information about how to improve your relationship, as well as we have an app. And on our app, you can get all of the information. Everything that we share is on our app, and it's free. You can download it very easily from Google Play, and we're in the process of working with Apple, so that it will also be in the Apple Store. But you can always go to our website, which is iamlovebuilders.com/TV, and you can see the TV show or any of our other media services.
Now tell them about we have the awards, the Zanti Awards.
Oh, this is so exciting. So this is our first year, and we are being nominated for the Zanti Awards.
Mm-hmm.
Zanti is Zandra TV, which is a streaming network platform and which hosts our show, Winning with Love. So this year we have been nominated, and we need your vote. So you can go to our Facebook page, which is I Am Love Builders, and you will find a post there with all the information, QR code. Go there. It'll take you directly to Zandra TV, where you can vote. And we're under the category of
lifestyle, I believe.
Lifestyles. I believe that's the category that we're under. You can go there and you can vote for free
every day.
Every day.
Yeah. And they can also get to it by going to iamlovebuilders.com/TV. If you go there, the link is right there at the top. I put that on the website.
Oh, very good. So you can also go there, but please, we ask vote for us. Go to iamlovebuilders.com/TV, and you'll find the link and all the information, and vote for us that we will be this year's winners for the Zonti Award for our category of lifestyle. Also on there, you'll be able to see the show if you haven't seen it yet.
Yeah.
So you'll have access to that as well.
Yeah, it's like the People's Choice Awards. So, when they have the Academy Awards, they're kind of voting is secret or whatever. But
Mhm.
People's Choice Award is really about the people selecting the shows.
So we thank you in advance. What's next, husband?
We still have 3 minutes left.
We still got 3 minutes. Okay, so just pray for my husband.
Pray for him.
He's having he has been, let's see, what's the best word to say it? He is victorious over an attack
I'm
on
catching
his
healing.
health. Yes, he is catching his healing in Jesus' name.
Yes.
And all the symptoms are gone, we believe by faith, so that he can carry on because he has lots of work to do.
I got a lot of work to do. I don't have time for this.
No, you don't. And tomorrow's Monday, and he has all of his send fellow duties on Mondays.
Yes. Can't be down on Mondays.
No. So everyone, we just thank you and we appreciate you. Please go to our website, I Am Love Builders. Look at everything that we have to offer you. Most of what we have is free, and for your encouragement, for your growth, for you to become successful in your relationships and life in general. So please go to the website. Also, watch the TV show if you haven't seen yet. Season 1 of I Am Winning with Love is there on our website or on the app, and you can watch all of the episodes. And then send us a little contact, info at I Am Love Builders, and let us know what you think of the show.
Yeah. Still got a minute and a half.
We still got a minute and a half. Wow. This seems like it's, I guess I don't talk as,
You don't talk that much.
I talk faster than you or something, because when you do it, it's a long time and I just kind of sit here. But now I'm doing it and it seems to be going by very fast. But I don't even know what else to say.
Talk about the app.
Okay, so the app is very easy. So when you go to the app, we have a series of things that is free. You can download the app. There you will find, you can get the episodes to the TV show Winning with Love.
They got quizzes.
There's a quiz you take.
For married couples, quiz for singles, and a purpose quiz that they can take. We have the love assessment that is in the app. All that is free.
And you can go to that and check us out. Fill out the information. That way you'll be able to get in on all of the good free stuff. And then we also have paid levels as well.
Yeah. All right. You did good.
Thank you.
Okay. We're going to take a quick break. You're watching I Am Love Builders show. When we come back, we're going to have our special guest in studio with us. We'll be right back in just a moment.
Your love deserves the best. You deserve MVP Premier. Transform your relationship with our exclusive 5-day immersive experience for only 8 couples a year. Luxury travel, stunning resorts, gourmet dining, and a lifetime of support await you. Reimagine your relationship. Apply now at mvppremier.com.
Okay. Welcome back to I Am Love Builders show. We have Casper and Cheryl here, and I'm trying to save my voice, so I'm going to pass it over to my wife to introduce our guests.
So we are so excited to introduce our MVP guests, Raffi and Caitlin Bilek.
We got it. We got close.
I'm trying. They work with couples just as we do, and families to help change negative patterns and repair, restore, and revitalize relationships. So we are so excited. Welcome, guys. We're so glad to have you on. Welcome to the I Am Love Builders show.
Thank you. Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
So please talk to us. Tell us about yourself. Start with your love story. How did you meet?
How did you two meet? That's an easy one, and probably less usual these days. We met via an actual human matchmaker.
Human matchmaker. Okay.
Yes, not like no AI. It was
no app.
No apps. We both knew the same person. She said, you know what? Why don't you try this person? And we were both looking to get married, and we both had a same set of values. And when I spoke to this woman who was a teacher of my wife's, I happened to mention, like, I'm really not interested in what she looks like. It could be somebody who's Black or Asian or whatever. I just like, because it was not typical to meet that in our community. And she goes, "Oh, really?" and that's how she thought of Caitlin, who in our community, there's not a lot of folks, not a lot of people of color. So having mentioned that, sort of sparked her thought. And then she heard more from me. It's like, yeah, this could be a really good match. So she set us up, and it went pretty smoothly. We knew each other for only about 3.5 weeks before we got engaged.
What?
Whoa.
Oh, wow. You're in our group.
Yeah.
Woohoo!
We did it. It was pretty quick. I in the beginning I was a little hesitant, so he thinks it went smoothly. I was like holding back.
It went very smoothly.
I was like, I'm not sure. I'm not sure. And I remember on one of the dates, we were in a cab going back somewhere, and he looks over to me and goes, you can relax now. You don't have to be so formal. So I was very formal at the beginning, a little standoffish. And
it sounded like I was talking to somebody in a business meeting when I would call her on the phone. We'd like arrange to meet, and she'd be like, "Oh, okay, great. Well, take care now."
I had been burnt out through some other dating processes, and I had things were not had kind of ended quickly with other ones.
You should have just started with me. It would have been much simpler.
Yeah. So by the time I got to him, I was like, I don't know. This guy's could probably get me into it, and then end up dropping me, and so I was a little hesitant. So then after he told me to relax, I was able to warm up a little bit more.
Hey, Caitlin, you and I were on the same page. We got engaged. Casper asked me to marry him on our second date.
Okay, you win.
You definitely
win. He proposed to me on we had our first date on August the 16th. We got married September 28th.
Oh, wow. Very fast.
And he was like your husband. He was set and good to go. And I was like, I don't know about this. I kept saying, Holy Spirit, show me what's going on here. Is he real?
Well, yeah, I agree. I realized he was real when he stole the chocolate cake off my fork at one of the dates.
Oh.
Okay.
It looked really good. And I said, you know what? She seems nice, but that's a really good looking chocolate cake.
At that point, I definitely laughed a lot and let it loosen up. Let it go a little bit easier.
Well, very good. So what else? Where did it go from there? You got married real quick. You have a big wedding.
Right. So we I think we went on like 10 dates over 3.5 weeks, just trying to get to know each other, because the first time we met we were total strangers. And then we got engaged. We got married 6 weeks later, I think. So also pretty quick. Once we decided to get married, so the engagement process was kind of a whirlwind. We had to book the venue and find the flowers and the napkins and all these things, and just bam, 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 knocked it off. And
I mean, the wedding part is very easy. So we got married in Jerusalem, and we were living in Israel. Wow. And there in Israel and Jerusalem, they have wedding halls like every block, because we're Orthodox Jewish community there. It's very common that weddings happen kind of very quickly, and also that I didn't pick up my own napkins. Basically, the wedding hall you have a package deal.
Made life not easy. I didn't have to go to the discussions about the napkin colors. Let me tell you, I was glad for that.
It also, I didn't really care that much at that point. What really made the process, I think, smooth, when Raffi says smooth, is we knew who we are individually. We knew what we wanted, where we wanted our life to go, and that's a big piece of any relationship. Is, does the individual know where they want to go when they're in the dating process? And so I knew what I was looking for overall, and he knew what he was looking for. One of the things I really prayed a lot for when I was in the dating process was for somebody who had good communication. I didn't really know what that meant. I just knew communication was a big, important thing.
Yes, it is.
To have in a relationship, but I didn't know what that really meant until I got married. But I really, really very, very blessed that Raffi has definitely held up his end of the deal at least in terms of what I was looking for.
Sometimes I won't stop talking.
Right. Just let me get away with I'm done. He says, like, you can't say you're done. So like, but that was really great. And I remember he would pull out his old time iPad, which I call it was like a little writing pad. We have one right here to show people. And he would open up the little iPad with his scribbled notes and ask me questions on the date. And he'd be like, okay, what do I want to ask you? Oh, what do you see? How do you see our family having, a family dinner? Like, describe the scene. And I just thought that was really great. Here's somebody who knows what he's looking for and what questions to ask. And that really made the dating go so smoothly, because he would ask me a question. I may not know the answer right away, but I knew I could think about it, and then on the next date, give an answer back. And then maybe, so it's really great. Yeah.
Tell him. he said I was interrogating him. I wasn't interrogating.
Hey, if you're going to ask me on the second date, you better be asking some questions.
That's right.
So
this is a lifelong experience here, a long journey. And so I had questions.
You should. Yeah. Good for you.
You did good.
So questions were very helpful, I think, and that was really great. And of course, it continues on in the married life. But I really appreciated that. Out of all the people I dated, he knew what he was looking for. He knew who he was. He would ask those questions. And Raffi asked. He asked most of the questions. You had your little pad every day. I had to keep up with him.
I think you had questions.
I had a few questions. You were much more organized. I had them kind of like floating around my head. Raffi's much more type A personality, like much more categorized,
alphabetized.
But yeah, it was really made that part smoothly, made conversation easier, which was really great for the dating process.
Yeah.
Well, very good. I wholeheartedly commend you, Raffi. We're on the same page. I not only asked questions, but I proposed scenarios to him and said, if A plus B plus C happened, what would D look like? And I had all of those questions and scenarios.
Like a little game show you guys had going on there.
Yes. And so he was very good. Caitlin, this is what really pleased me. You said Raffi was good at communicating. So was Casper, and he wasn't shy, especially when I look back on some of the other men that I had dated. He didn't hesitate in answering my questions.
And the drama that I had, unfortunately, because I had been in other marriages before and relationships before, so I had a lot of drama in my past.
And so, but he was open. He was very open. He was genuine. He was authentic.
Mm-hmm. Yes,
and that's what impressed me and pleased me the most. He wasn't hiding. He wasn't trying to avoid the question or the issue. Mm-hmm. He looked at it head on, and he gave me an answer, genuine answer.
All right, we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to continue the conversation with our awesome MVP guests. We'll be right back in just a moment.
Texas Coin is the future of money in Texas. Texas Coin is a fast, layer 1 digital currency designed for generations of honest trade. In many ways, Texas Coin is like Bitcoin. It uses blockchain technology, the decentralized public ledger, to record transactions. Texas Coin makes it easy for anyone to participate in the digital economy. Like Bitcoin, Texas Coin can be traded for other cryptocurrencies or cash. But unlike Bitcoin and other leading cryptos, Texas Coin can only be digitally mined in Texas. Join us as we build the world's largest decentralized cryptocurrency mine. Put control of crypto back in the hands of individuals and away from mega corporations, banks, and foreign nations. With Texas Coin, we can leave the world a better place for our children and future generations.
All right, we are back with the I Am Love Builder Show. Casper Show here with our special MVP guests in studio. And take it away.
So, guys, share with us some more. You got married, and after the wedding, now you say you were in Israel at the time?
We were living in Jerusalem. It was quite a place to be.
Yes.
Wow. And how did that happen? How did you guys both end up in Israel?
Well, first of all, divine providence, that's for sure.
Okay.
For us to be from different places and end up in the same place so that we could find each other to get married. That was a handy trick. We were doing religious studies. We were both doing our own religious studies in Jerusalem. I was there for 2 years, and you were there for a year.
I was a year in studies and then a year working at one of the schools.
Okay.
And then we're like, oh, time to get married. We were 22, 23. Well, you started earlier, I guess. I was 23. I was like, okay, it's time. So, I went to the local matchmaker, and I said, okay, here we go. And she's like, all right, well, come, let's have a chat. And so we chatted, and then she actually set me up with one person before, and we went on one date one time, and it was like, nah, not quite. What else you got in the Rolodex there? So she pulled out Caitlin, like, oh yeah, this is a winner.
Nice.
Well, all right. And so then after the wedding, then what?
After the wedding, there was never another problem ever. Things have been totally calm and even keel for 19 years now. Never it's been challenging.
Yeah,
challenges.
Big challenges.
Yeah, getting used to each other at the beginning was obviously difficult. We come from different places, and we carry our own baggage, as I'm sure everyone does, and just trying to get that to fit together was pretty challenging. It wasn't like big arguments. It was simply that we couldn't quite, connect.
Right. So the biggest challenge. I'm an adoptee. So I was adopted as a very young child, and so I didn't realize that my adoptive experience would play out so intensely getting married. So basically, what happened in a nutshell is that my fear of Raffi leaving me played out quickly within the first few months, and I didn't realize it was happening, but he would come home and I'd become very clingy and to start to.
It was a little bit suffocating.
Yeah, suffocating.
And we sort of had to get through it. I mean, when we say abandonment issues, she has abandonment issues because she was actually abandoned in a hotel. Right. They found her in a hotel and took her to an orphanage. Right. So that that was playing out in her next intimate relationship, which was us. Right. And I didn't know what I was getting. Not that anybody really knows what they're getting when they get married.
Right.
That was the package. So we had a lot to work through on that.
Right. And Raffi brightly suggested we get some marriage therapy.
Yeah.
So that really helped us a lot. He was a really great therapist, and there in Jerusalem, an American guy who spoke English, and we would go together, and he was able to really help us navigate this really tough beginning. My subconscious fear is coming out.
Yeah.
And I think that no matter how long a person dates beforehand, I've definitely seen people who've been dating for a long time and things don't come out till after marriage. Or if you date for a short amount of time, it's the marriage and the intimacy and the interplay of that brings out things from people's past. And so I was in denial that even my adoptive experience would have such an impact. I was thought as a very well-adjusted person who had a very happy, supportive adoptive family, and I had a long-term boyfriend, and it didn't seem to come up in anything with that before. So this was just very much a big shock to me as well that this would happen.
Yeah, I, by the way, was perfect. I had no issues, and I never made any mistakes. It was totally
right.
Okay, I have my issues, right?
Yeah, I figured as much. I figured you would.
We played into each other. I have my own history. She has her history. I don't have anything nearly as big as sort of being found in a hotel. I grew up at a solid family and loving family. We're connected, and the personalities that I grew up with, prepared me to react in a certain way, and it wasn't necessarily the best way I reacted at first. So getting some guidance was really key to us being able to navigate that, which I think we did pretty well.
Right, and the biggest thing is Raffi, again, communication. He would sit me down and say, "Talk this through, talk it out. What's going on?" Okay. Right, and not let me say, "I just don't know. Let's move." It was a lot of I don't know in the beginning until I started to recognize make the connections through communication.
We talked a lot about stuff, without necessarily trying to figure out, all the solutions right at once, but just talking through it and understanding what's going on and how we feeling.
But it's rare for the guy to be the initiator of the communication, because guys are typically not that.
Yeah, usually women are trying to pull stuff out of them, and the guys are shutting down.
I think I prayed really hard for the communication piece.
Yes,
I prayed a whole lot for that. I didn't know what I meant by it, but now I see the fruits of my labor.
Yeah.
It really worked.
So tell me now. Let's look back, and so within those first, let's say, 5 years of marriage, as you're going through this, what would be at least one thing that you would share with another married couple who were in their first 5 years and finding out, I have an issue in that area and I didn't even know it? What would you share with them?
I would just normalize it. Everyone should know this is normal. Things come out when you get married that you didn't notice before, that didn't come out before. That's totally normal. Everyone comes with a history, and everyone is different. And the fact that you come and you didn't realize that your spouse has this or that you have that issue, that's totally normal. And it shouldn't be taken as an indication that something's wrong or you made a mistake or it can't be fixed. I think that's a pretty common experience. And if people have not found that their spouse has something they didn't recognize or didn't understand or didn't know, they probably haven't gotten there yet, right? People are so complex that you can't know everything about somebody in a year or 2 or 5.
Right.
So we still learn things about each other 19 years in.
Yes.
So it's the big things I think are out of the way, but there's still more things coming up because life brings those up, having children and different children's challenges bring things out of us. And so I think that the recognition that there will always be things we discover about each other, big, small, and medium, that like we have to navigate that. I think to answer your question, Cheryl, I think that the one thing I say, I think, is that when in the first 5 years, if a person feels that this is not working and it's no fun anymore, and when we were dating, everything was the same, and now we're completely different, that's like a common, is that's the dating process. That when we're dating, we look for the similarities. It's like kind of that's what we're doing. We're trying to check off these. Are we similar? Do we have the same, career goals? Do we have the same, are we going to be egalitarian 50-50 couple? Like, all the things, like, can we check those off? Do you like dogs? Do we do all those things like that? Do we have the same favorite colors? And so when you get married, the differences come out because we are different people. And to remember that everybody's different. Like Raffi's saying, we all come from our own backgrounds. And when marriage comes, when you get married, you're going to see the differences much more than when you're dating. Yeah. And I think that recognition that when it comes to that point, if I really can't communicate about it, let's go get some help. And I think that's also very important.
Yeah.
All right. We're going to take another quick break. When we come back, we'll continue on with this discussion. We'll be right back in just a moment. All right, we are back with the I Am Love Builder show. Casper Show here, and I'm trying to save my voice for very important times to jump in.
Okay, so I will take it from here. So tell us now. Let's move on till how long was it before you had your? Well, first tell me, how long have you guys been married?
19 years.
19
years.
All right. And when is your anniversary?
Oh boy, April 10th. It just passed. April 10th. April 10th. I can do. I knew that one.
He remembers better than I do. So.
So tell me now, how long was it before you had your first child?
About 2 years. 2 years.
She's turning 17 now, right?
Yes,
So 2 years, yeah.
2 years.
About 2 years. Okay, so now just share with us, what has it been like now being a family of 6, mom and dad, 4 children, and all girls?
4 girls.
It's fun.
It's fun?
It gets catty, and it's fun when it's fun. Thankfully they get along overall very well, and we try to really help them with their communication as well. Trying to help them talk about their feelings rather than just attack each other. So times it's better than others, but yeah, it's we've definitely with each one learned a lot about ourselves, about how everybody's just very different and very similar at the same time. Yeah, right. And so yeah,
nothing pushes you to grow like trying to manage children.
Yeah.
Either you can turn into yelling and screaming and conflict, or you can look inwards and try to make it better in there. And nothing does that like trying to raise your own children. That's for sure.
Yeah.
So let me ask you this, Raffi, as being a good communicator, how has that helped you being the father of 4 daughters?
I have really forced them a lot to talk about things. We've done sort of little mini therapy sessions with them when they've had fights with each other, rather than going through the endless cycles that I remember with my brothers, but arguing and recriminating and, you know, not talking for a while, then everything's okay again. I mean, look, you make it through, but to be able to have them talk to each other on that level and connect and work out their issues is such great training for the future, and it's great training for now. I mean, we see the relationships they have with each other, and it's really gratifying to see how much they can rely on each other and how much they trust each other, and just the way they talk to each other when we're not around. Recently, one of them was having just a bad day. She came home from school, was having a rough day. She was 13 at the time, and she was kind of just spreading that around the house, you know, and making everybody else miserable. But her two younger sisters, who are 7 and 10, sort of caught on, and they left her they took some of their from their candy stash with a little note saying, like, "I hope you feel better," and they left it on her pillow. It's just, you know, so gratifying to see the work that we put in to help them build relationships, and to, you know, to take the tough times in stride has been getting us somewhere.
Yeah.
So when you have these conflicts, and especially when they get to the teenage years, it's probably a little easier when they're, like, you know, in single digits. But by the time they all get to teenagers and they're dealing with their own challenges and learning more about themselves, the good, bad, and the ugly. How does mom and dad come in? I mean, because that, I'm sure in your household it affects everybody. Not like you said, that one example, not just one, but everyone's affected. So how do you work through that as a family?
I mean, I would say the biggest thing that we do for our kids in those situations is just modeling. You know, they hear us all the time with our own issues and our own conflicts and our own frustrations, and we talk about how we feel, and we don't, you know, point fingers at each other, and we don't try to make the problem go away right away. We allow each other to be upset at whatever, and just showing them all the things that we do personally, professionally, and letting them see that, okay, it sinks in. You know, they'll fight with us, they'll argue, they'll make fun of our, you know, they complain about being the children of two therapists. But at the end of the day, we see them using it sometimes, and we're like, it's in there. It's in there.
Yeah. The teenagers at times will, you know, they will switch from you this, you that to I feel, which is great when I see that happens.
Yeah.
And so that is definitely, I think, what, again, like Raffi said, we really, really try to role model. We also tell them that all emotions, I guess, the strong feeling of anger, frustrations, and annoyance are part of a relationship, rather than Raffi says it's not against a relationship, it's just part of the relationship. And Ashira, my oldest daughter, was telling us, she's saying to a friend that that, you know, her friend was shocked that she would still talk to her sister when feeling angry at the sister. And no, that's fine. Just I feel angry, but I still talk to her. Like, doesn't mean my anger is going to make me never give her a silent treatment, right? Meaning our daughters understand that they can feel all these different feelings with each other, but still communicate about other things. And maybe not, there's nothing wrong with feeling angry in that sense. And so that's a really big piece we role model around here. Is just like, we can feel disappointed and frustrated and angry with each other, yet we can still talk about other things and make plans for the next day, and not go around passively being angry or passive aggressively. So that's, I think, just really is going, we hold the line when they are catty with each other. We will call it out, do our best to hold the line. And as long as there's nothing dangerous or destructive, we let it play out. But we try to make sure to step in if it gets dangerous or destructive, like the hair pulling at times, which happens with a lot of long hair around here. We a lot of times have to intervene, but usually, thankfully, we do not have to do that too much.
So tell me, at what point did you all become family therapists?
Oh yeah, it's interesting.
Yeah, so let's see. A year after we got married.
Well, when I was dating Raffi, he wanted to become. He's actually also a rabbi, so he wanted to become a rabbi, and we were looking at becoming a rabbinical couple. But then I was getting I wanted to get a master's in psychology because my undergrad's in psychology, but I ended up diverting to sociology because I was living in Israel. So I got a master's in sociology, and we were there. At this time, Raffi decided to also get a degree as a social worker. So he switched from being a computer science undergrad from Brown, and he went to become a social worker.
And we were just prepping to be like in some kind of helping capacity, and it wasn't clear what yet. We were maybe going to go do some kind of basically, ministry on campuses type of thing, and then it didn't quite pan out that way. We tried certain things, it didn't happen, and then we started looking for jobs. It was really hard to find a job that paid reasonably where we were living, So we found something in New Jersey that just fit really well.
Right.
Ended up moving there, and then, gosh,
So
when did
he had to do all the clinical hours for the social work degree with to get the hours to become a licensed social worker. And there I was working just kind of like a part-time job, doing some type of relationship matchmaking for Jewish learning. Then we also in the community with my peers, I would do some kind of home management workshops. I got making workshops for people to manage their homes and life better.
It wasn't until we moved down to Baltimore.
And then we were trying to figure out what to do after his hours completed. And he wanted to open private practice. And I said to him, well, we have to figure out where we're going to really put our roots down. Like, are we going to stay in New Jersey or go further south?
We have more family down here in Maryland and in Virginia. So we said, once we were really going to build something, let's get a little closer. We came to Baltimore, which is where we are now, and we just launched this private practice, and we've been helping people there. It's a local Baltimore thing, but then we wanted to expand outwards, so we built this website, Bilek Family Coaching, which is just where we reach out to people around the world, and people reach out to us, and we can sort of be more flexible and help people with coaching on their marriages, their families, and stuff. Once we launched it, it's been very organic, from this sort of local thing to a bigger thing, and just trying to reach people to help them.
Well, we're going to talk more about that when we come back. We're going to bring up your website and stuff and get more into what you guys do to help families and couples. We'll be right back in just a moment.
Texic Coin is the future of money in Texas. Texic Coin is a fast, Layer 1 digital currency designed for generations of honest trade. In many ways, Texic Coin is like Bitcoin. It uses blockchain technology, the decentralized public ledger, to record transactions. Texic Coin makes it easy for anyone to participate in the digital economy. Like Bitcoin, Texic Coin can be traded for other cryptocurrencies or cash. But unlike Bitcoin and other leading cryptos, Texic Coin can only be digitally mined in Texas. Join us as we build the world's largest decentralized cryptocurrency mine. Put control of crypto back in the hands of individuals and away from mega corporations, banks, and foreign nations. With Texic Coin, we can leave the world a better place for our children and future generations.
All right, we are back with our awesome couple, MVP couple in studio with us. And I want to pull up their website. Let's see if I can do a screen share here, because they have a great website to help couples.
That's us.
Yeah, that's you guys. So when you're
So we're looking at your caption here. It says things can be different. So share with us what our audience, if they want to go to your website, and what will they find there? What's there to help them out?
I think that people tend to get stuck in these patterns and often get a little bit hopeless, trying that things can ever change, that marriage can get better, that the family relationship can get better. So that's really the tagline, just helping get people get a little bit of hope. And really, it's just a portal to us. There's a growing blog. I haven't put enough time into that. I'd like to share more useful information there. But it's basically a way to reach out to us. People are looking for help. Like we know how helpful it was to get some guidance, and now that we're nearly 20 years down the road, you want to make sure that people have an opportunity to get that for themselves. It's so easy nowadays. You could be anywhere and reach out to people from anywhere. So just hoping that people can find us and reach out when they feel stuck and they feel a little hopeless. Like, hey, we can help you make things different.
And what is it that when a couple comes to you and they say, we just feel we don't know if we're going to be able to make it. Can you help us out? What do we do?
Yeah. First thing is just to sit them down in front of us and hear a little bit what's going on, understand what the background is and where things are at. We both do different things. Like, we don't usually do co-counseling. I know some people do that. I think we're a little bit too different for that to work well. So sit down and understand, okay, this is the problem. This is where the pattern's going wrong. And, having been through a lot ourselves, we can sort of spot where things are going off kilter and just help them do things differently. We've learned a lot, we've experienced a lot, and to be able to guide them back into a path where either their intimate relationship or their family relationship. Caitlin works a lot more with family members than I do. She does great stuff working with parents and their adult children. There's a lot of troubled relationships like that out there. So that's a great thing that she can help with.
So what do you see trending out there in marriages today?
Infidelity is popular. I'll tell you that much.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
That's a trend. I don't know. Was it always there? Who knows? Now you have websites devoted to it, So
Mhm.
that's the thing that I deal with a lot. Unfortunately, it's sad. It's painful. I do get a lot of people calling me up and saying, "Hey, this has happened," and sometimes they call me up, as soon as they found out, and that's a painful moment for sure. We try to help
Yes.
with that.
And what do you guys do? What can you offer to help couples walk through that?
It's a healing process. It's slow. It's painful. First, a little bit of a dose of reality often helps. Like, this is not going away tomorrow, right? We are not going to fix this. We can fix it. Sometimes people wonder, like, well, do I have to get divorced now? Well, you don't. Like, we can work through this. It's definitely possible, but it's gonna be slower than you want. Just to, let's be clear. Like, it's a tough climb. That stuff. And I think another thing that's trending is you see people sort of wanting to cut off their parents. That's another trend that we've seen out there. Going no contact with a mom or a dad. So
Yeah.
Caitlin's been really great about helping folks in that area.
Right. I do have a handful of families that I'm working with, adult children with their parents, and they're trying to communicate with them as adult children and talk about things from the past, from the family history, questions, and rather than talking about facts about what I saw, what I remember, and this is what you did, and this is what it means,
Mhm.
accusatory statements, to help them come to a place of, well, let's talk about it from a place of feeling, and what do you feel when you say that, and what does that mean, and helping people access those feelings, which will give them better access to the questions they really want to ask, which I think is, again, it comes back to the questions, right? When you don't know what you really want to ask and what you really wish to know, then it doesn't really go well. A lot of things what we do, we don't do co-coaching together. What I do find is Raffi will work with a couple who's gone through an infidelity challenge. And what will happen is I will maybe meet with one of the partners, often a person who has been found out that the infidelity happened, and they're not sure if they want to stay or go, right? That can be a question for them. And I will see them individually and help them figure out, what do they really want in their life? What do they want in their relationship? What are they doing or can do to help make that happen? Because what often is fine is that the challenge with the challenge there is a person, if they don't know if they want to do the work, then it will be hard for Raffi to work with a couple. So there's no right or wrong answer, right? It depends on the person,
Mhm.
where they are in their stage of life, and what they're looking for, and helping them come to that accountability on their own of what they're wanting. And then that really does help the clients get more clarity.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I think that's one of the big things that we both do a lot with our clients, is getting them to stop arguing about what happened. You can argue about what happened from now until the end. You said this. No, you said this first. No, but I only said that because you said this. And you go round and round. I mean, right? You're nodding because you've been there, right? We've all been there, and try to unhook from that dynamic and say, okay, you know what? We may not agree on what happened, but we should be able to have a relationship anyways. So that's a big thing that I help people with, and we both help people with, is like, okay, let's stop arguing about what actually happened and deal with what it means for us anyways.
Right. And just listening to you guys talk, it sounds like, and I know this is one of the things we have found is that unforgiveness is prevalent, which is why we find ourselves in these stuck modes where we're repeating the negative over and over and over again. And that it's not being willing or not knowing how to cross that line to forgive. And it causes people to stay stuck in their pain.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot of pain out there. It is hard to forgive, especially in these very serious betrayal situations. Both parties have to be able to come to the middle. When somebody violates the boundaries of their marriage and then expects forgiveness without doing their own work to come back to make amends, that also doesn't go so well.
Right. Agreed, wholeheartedly. So tell me, so in your practice, and how long have you all been doing family coaching now?
So I started this private practice here in Baltimore. It was 2014, so it's 11 years now that we set that up. And yeah, it's just been growing there since then. So I guess that I've been I got my degree in 2009. I've been counseling since then. So it depends what you're counting from. But we've been doing this for over a decade. We've seen a lot of different dynamics, a lot of different families and couples, and it's been really interesting and meaningful work.
Yeah, I run an anger management workshop and a parenting workshop I've also run a home management workshop. I'm not as called on for that right now, but people have, especially during COVID, I got a lot of phone calls for anger management workshops because spouses, family members said, I'm not going to stay with you, or I can't live with you unless you go get anger management help. So again, recognizing that's really just a tip of the iceberg about emotion regulation, communication about your emotions to other people, managing it better, coping with it better. And so again, we really try to help everybody come to that understanding that you have your emotions, that accessing that rather than keeping focused on all the facts and who did what, when they did it, how it was done, really can bring us back and center ourselves to figure out what is it we want, what do I wish would happen here, and what am I doing to make that happen, right? And that really, as you guys are called IAM love builders, are you doing what you need to build the love in your life? And whether that's with yourself or with your partner or with your children or with your parents, what are you doing? I am very excited. I've been working with a family for at least a couple of years. I think we're at like 135th session.
We're gonna have to take a quick break, and then you can tell us about this family when we come back. All right. All right, we are back in studio with our awesome MVP guests, and Caitlin, you were ready to tell us about this family you were working with.
Yes. And you say so. Yes, I've been working with this family for a very long time, and again, helping each person in the family recognize that what they really want to do is build love. And even though there's been estrangement in different parts of the family, that as each person recognizes that what they want to do and how they want to make that happen, they're taking that accountability, and there is hopefully going to be more reunions rather than estrangement happen. And it's just a beautiful process to see happening. And each session, each communication that takes place, when it's done productively, gets that another step forward in that direction. It's just really a beautiful thing to see.
So help me out here, because I know anger is a big one. It does seem like, not that we as human beings haven't always had to deal with anger, but it appears that in the timeline we're in right now, it seems to be more prevalent. A lot more of us are just angry. So what are some of the tips you can give a couple on how to work through that?
So I think the first thing is recognizing what the definition of anger really is. So whatever workshop I'm giving, I always ask the clients how they define that. And a lot of people do not clearly understand the definition of anger. And so that's a recognition that it actually has been around forever. And when we recognize that anger is really a strong feeling of dislike about something, that we all have strong feelings of dislike. Right. And when we can recognize what that is and what that means for me, then I can communicate that over to another person. And especially with oneself. A lot of people don't like the word anger. It gets a bad rap. A lot of people associate it with rage, so they hold it back until they express the anger, right? They don't recognize it's a feeling, and it is an expression as well, but usually it's expressed as rage. Like you're saying, people are expressing it everywhere, so we see it everywhere. Another thing is recognition that with expectations and reality, right? Reality is we all know we really can't, when we think about it, can't control the things that happen around us, what people will say or do. Yet we have such information fed to us over and over again by advertisements, by movies, by books, by magazines, and we start to get these expectations about what people should be saying or should be doing, or why they aren't doing it that way, or what's wrong with them, any of those type of passive aggressive questions. And we create a well of opportunity for anger because the disappointment gets bigger with each thought. So a lot of work I do with my clients is recognizing, let's catch those cognitive distortions and bring back the reality and expectation closer. Not that we shouldn't have any expectations, but let's be much more real about it. And so that is a big piece of recognizing that when we can recognize that there's really coming back to what is it that I want? What is it that I would like to have happen? And it didn't happen this time. And that's probably going to happen 75% of the time in my communication with people. That's normal, like normalizing it. And okay, and I can be angry, but if I'm at angry level 30 and not at 80, then I can communicate about it, right? And that recognition can work through. So yeah, so helping people get to that point before it's expressed as rage is very important.
Very good. And there's on your website, you also mentioned about negative thought patterns. Help us. How do we overcome some of our negative thought patterns?
I think, like you said, you got to catch it first. Recognize, that what you're saying to yourself in your head is not helpful. Oh, they shouldn't be treating me like that. They shouldn't, should is a big word that gets thrown around and tends not to help people. You should this, I should that. Like, this is kind of how it is. I would like it to be different. I wish that things were different right now. But should, it implies a lot of pressure and obligation on people. And I think that gets in people's way. All the other kinds of thoughts that we have that are unhelpful and that take us in the wrong direction. The first thing is just noticing it, recognizing it in your head, and then being able to think about how you would like to have that be different in your own head.
Amen. Very good. I know, because one of there's scriptures in the Bible that talks about the thoughts that goes on in our mind and how to get rid of the negative ones with being more realistic. And I think the negative thoughts and the anger and the unforgiveness and the infidelity, I believe they all tie into each other.
Mm-hmm. Yes, definitely. Another one is the always and nevers, right? People say, you always do this, you never do that. I always do everything. That's one in the parenting workshop I give. We parents often tend to say to our kids, I always do everything, you never do anything. And that just fuels that emotion of disappointment and anger. So that makes parenting then go poorly. And with people's relationships and to say to each other, those type of words, the negative thinking patterns that are unfortunately hijacking communication is that they are there and they're natural and we have to work against them.
So my husband tells me we have like maybe two minutes left. So Caitlin and Raffi, share with our audience something that how they can contact you if they want to reach out to you for some of the services that you provide, and what the process is that they would, the beginning.
Yeah, absolutely. They can reach out to us here. If you go to Bilek Family Coaching, there's a contact us page. I've got a book out, which I think you got the link to as well, thecommunicationbook.com.
There it is, right here.
Right. So talking about communication, mostly it's geared to couples, but really works for a lot of things. And so we teach from that. It's a great resource for people to start with. And then, reaching out to us. You can email us or fill the form or whatever it is. And we definitely are out here to help more people and get more people the resources, the tools they need to make their relationships awesome. Like you guys said, if it's not fun, it's not working. Now, it ain't gonna be fun all the time, but it ought to be fun much of the time, right? It shouldn't be so terrible when you got to talk through the difficult times. Like, okay, that shouldn't be so bad.
Yeah, it should be fun most of the time.
Yeah. And then you can look at it as fun when you decide to overcome the challenges, because you realize they're going to come, they're going to be there, but we're going to work through them.
Yeah. We even get excited with the challenges sometimes because it gives us a way to work through it and to grow through that.
Yeah, definitely.
Right. You can have fun and still be angry with your partner.
Yes,
that's right. That is so true.
That's one of those moments with Raffi.
And we are so appreciative to you guys coming and being on the show with us. We are always looking for couples who are willing to work with and help other couples, because this is a big elephant. I mean, I know there may be situations where maybe divorce might be the answer, but for the most part, I believe we as humans can overcome some of our greatest challenges through history we have. And I don't think marriage should be any different. And I like the idea that you guys are a family and you do family coaching, because parenting is a big deal too. That's all about communication and relationships. So we just want to say thank you guys for being with us today. We appreciate you.
All
Thank
right.
you. Thanks so much for having us.
Thank you. Appreciate being on the show.
You're welcome.
And we are I Am Love Builders, and we thank you for being on the show with us. And we look big shout out to all of you who tuned in today here at I Am Love Builders and Winning with Love. Please step out, get our MVP app, and become an MVP champion. And remember, if you're not having fun, you're not doing it right.
All right. We'll see you on the next show.